Hi everyone, my social justice book talk is on the book MyTwo Blankets by Irina Cobalt. Have you ever been to a country where you didn't understand the language, or have you ever even been the new kid in class? This book is all about a little girl who is a refugee. She has immigrated to a new country to be safe. She has to leave her old country because of the war. It says, Auntie used to call me Cartwheel, then came the war. Auntie didn't call me Cartwheel anymore. So she changes who she is by coming to this new country. And the author uses the word strange to describe her surroundings. We came to this new country to be safe. Everything was strange. The people were strange. The food was strange. The animals and the plants were strange. Even the wind felt strange. And this picture is a great example of the way the illustrator uses colors. The little girl and her auntie are depicted in oranges and reds, which are warm colors, and then the strangers or her surroundings are blues and greens, which are cool, and it's like a metaphor for how she's feeling in her new country. The blankets the blanket is also a metaphor for her words, like the new words that she's learning. This picture shows how all the words that she's hearing, no one spoke like I did. When I went out, it was like standing under a waterfall of strange sounds. The waterfall was cold. It made me feel alone. I felt like I wasn't me anymore. And it's like all the words are like pointy and sharp and hard. And here she is surrounded by all these words she's not understanding. And then this is her blanket, like her words that she feels comfortable. The blanket is a metaphor for words. And so she goes home every night and wraps herself in her blanket with her own words and sounds. And she called it her old blanket. And it was warm and soft and it covered her all over. But one day she goes to the park and a little girl waves at her. I love this part. Right here, the little girl waves at her. She says, one day a girl in the park smiled at me and then she waved. I wanted to smile back, but I was scared. I kept walking with Auntie. When I looked back, the girl waved again. I really love this part. I love the way children don't see color or cultural differences and they just want to be friends. And I love that she really wants to be friends with this little girl. And so the little girl, she goes back and she keeps going back, but she doesn't see her. But one day she does finally see her again, and they do become friends. And the little girl teaches her some new words. She actually folds up little papers and teaches her the words. So she starts learning these new words. And so then her blanket, right, starts to become blues and greens as she internalizes and learns new words. And she says soon they don't sound so cold and sharp anymore, and they start to sound warm and soft, and she was weaving a new blanket. So the illustrations are really telling. The colors in this book really give it a lot of meaning. The author, Irina Cobalt, is actually a teacher. She's also an immigrant to Australia. And the students she teaches, they speak like 5 languages, English being like their 5th language. And so this is a great book for read aloud. I would use it for a read aloud with K2 students to develop empathy, to discuss kindness and different languages, immigration. I did read on one website that you should be careful if you do have some refugees or students who have come to the country in a difficult situation. You just want to be aware that being a refugee or an immigrant to a new country is kind of a touchy subject. But I hope you enjoy MyTwo Blankets.